Hello guys, I'm Alex Koloskov, and this is our THIX questions and answers session at 40g.com. We got several questions, and one of them is really cool, so I'm going to do a demonstration because I never did it myself, so it will be interesting for me to learn that kind of stuff. Let's jump to forum, to 40g.com/forum questions and answers thread. And here is a question from Maxim. He's trying to do focus stacking basically. And you see he got those images when he moved camera, not just refocusing, because the right way to do focus stacking is to move the whole system, camera with lens, right, through the focusing points. But there is other way to do focusing stacking without any macro rails. You just can refocus using manual focusing on your lens and rotating the focusing ring on your lens. This method is not recommended, though it works. And here Maxim is saying that that method, when he was rotating the focusing ring on the lens, worked fine, but when he tried to use same technique with macro focusing rail movement, it didn't work well. This book just didn't stack well with Photoshop. I don't know, I never have such problem, but I think it may be related to the distance. Maxim, you see, you said that it was about 10-15 centimeters distance between subject and the camera, meaning you were using a relatively wide angle lens. And I think for focus stacking, you really need to use long focus lens, like 100 millimeters or maybe more. Because when you have wide lens, when you change the distance between your subject and the lens, it's not only does the refocusing, right? But it also, because of that perspective distortion of wide lens, I think that's what happened to you. The image started distorted not only with focusing point, but with, like you seen here, right? On the edges and everywhere, and Photoshop just couldn't do this well. So again, I'm not sure, but I think that was the cause, because I never had anything like this using both methods, using macro focusing rail movements or just refocusing with lens. It always worked pretty well. And I was always using long focus lens, 100-180 millimeter lenses. So you may probably need to do the same here. Also make sure that you have enough steps. You have 5 steps, right? And yeah, for this it looks like it should be enough to get everything in focus. So I don't think it's an issue. The issue is wide lens. Okay? Another question from Maxim about why with ISO 100 we see some noise on, let's say, on sky, on blue sky. And here is example. Well, I've seen this, I know what you're talking about, and it happens when you see the noise on underexposed areas. It's not just a blue sky. It looks like, well, it's a crop, right? But the skies was much brighter, I guess. And at given exposure, you have it a little bit underexposed, which is probably exactly what you wanted to get, right? Deep blue sky. But the camera is trying to pull up as much as possible dynamic range, and that's what happens when you have crop sensor, or, well, with any sensor with high pixel density, noise stopped coming up. I remember shooting in studio. I had situation when Canon 5D, and before Canon I had 1DS Mark III, the flagman from Canon. I've seen some noise on the underexposed areas. And I never seen such situation when I was shooting with Hasselblad and phase 1 back, digital back. Because of digital back I have, it's 22 megapixel, twice as large as Canon full frame sensor, meaning pixel density is much less, I would say, and that's produces less noise. Signal to noise ratio is much better, and even on underexposed areas we don't see any problem like a noise. So that unfortunately just a feature of your camera. It's not a damage sensor, no. Just try to get cameras with larger sensor, or you can easily use some noise reduction plugins for Photoshop, or well, for anything, for Lightroom, and they will fix the situation. Okay. Another question: when shooting car speakers, is there a way still get reflection from speakers and to get black background and to eliminate front of the speakers without getting speakers in the air? So, as I understand, you are having problems with like putting some lights or reflector on top of speakers because it was reflecting on the background, which is reflective in your case. It's tricky when you do stuff like this, but it's possible. What I usually do, I change angle, because you see the reflection, the table is flat, so you know exactly the area it reflects. If you have camera here, table is here, it reflects something which, well, light or diffuser reflector positioned here, right? And if you have something relatively flat like a speaker, just change the angle. I think you have it on different angle. If you change the angle of those speakers not to be the same as the plane of the table, your shooting table, you will be able to get reflection from another light source which won't be visible on the table. It's just simple physics, right? So I don't think it will be any problem to do what you really want. And yeah, try to use spot light like honeycomb grid or snoot and aim it at sharp angle to your speakers. That's why you will see texture and details of the speakers. Things like this will look really good at sharp light. So you have your camera, speakers is here, table is here. Get spotlight somewhere. Highlight speakers. It will create nice texture everywhere, and it will also highlight some pieces of that aluminum you have on the speakers. It will work well. Okay. And the last question: is it okay to drop, excuse me, to drop a shadow to subject when shoot on white background if I'm not shooting on a glass? It's okay. Glass. Okay, it's better not to be any shadow or subject. Well, to have shadow or not to have, it's up to you or up to your client. In many cases, the requirements for the shot is to be without any shadows, to be subject on completely white background. However, usually it looks better when anything you shoot on the white will have nice little shadow. It's like it gives the viewer the idea that it's not hanging on the air, but it's actually laying on something, and usually it's better for our eye. At least in my experience, it looks better. But again, if you shoot for yourself, self-assignment for your portfolio, just see how it will look better, how you like it. And if it's client, just talk to them to figure out do they need shadow or not. Because if you talk about commercial product photography, many things is dictated by our clients, right? Okay. Ready. So that was questions from Maxim. And the next question is from Marco. Basically, It's a very popular topic about shooting stuff on white background, and I've been posting and I was showing how to do this in my previous sessions. But this time Marco asking about jewelry. So I never really using this setup with clear plexiglass and separation of the background and subject with jewelry. So I don't think it will be any problem by doing this. And I'm going to demonstrate it now. This is the Marco shot. He's saying that when he deals with mix of silver and gold, you know, the nickels and stuff like this, the shadow and little pieces is hard to separate from background, and it doesn't really work. So I hope I will be able to demonstrate it. Okay. Oh, sorry guys, I just recovered from some stupid thickness and I think I'm a little bit weak yet. Anyway, let me show it to you. I hope everything will be visible here. Well, let's do this. Okay, so we got plexiglass, just a piece of clear plexiglass with some jewelry, silver. There is some gold and another, we'll try to shoot it. And at the bottom I have just white piece of cardboard, right? And the camera on top of this with macro lens on it. Here's the whole setup, I'm going to move it. Okay? And this is the light for the background. I use barn door to make sure that it hits only background, and background is separated from our clear plastic, and this will be our main light. Obviously the lighting setup is pretty simple. I would better probably use the shooting cone or something more sophisticated for jewelry, but you know, I'm just demonstrating it how it should work. And this is my main reflector for our jewelry, right? Which side is more clear? Clean, I mean. I think this one. So I'll keep it as simple as possible. Just put on top of the whole system. And where is my light? Excuse me. I'm going to turn on one and then another one. So you got the idea, right? The softbox which we have here is hitting the cardboard, right, from underneath, and basically it's highlights it. Like I said, I would probably better use the shooting cone, but shooting cone is, well, it doesn't matter in this case. And let me start Lightroom, shooting Tethered, of course. And here we go. What about our power settings? As usual, as on any other shot like this, when we use clear plastic and background separation, well, separated from the subject, the ratio between, of course, the ratio between our light and excuse me, and background light and the main light which highlights a subject is essential, because not enough light on the background and you will start seeing the reflection from the clear plexiglass. Too much on the background and it won't look enough. Well, it will blow out the whole thing, right? So I'm going to raise the power a little bit, and here we are. I don't like that little reflection, because again we're not using the shooting cone, but let's play to see if we can do any good to eliminate it. That reflection on the heart, on the silver heart, it's from that hole for the lens we have in the reflector, and because the heart is flat, there is a little trick to make it work. I use some wax underneath it to rotate it a little bit, so it will reflect instead of the hole on top of it. It will reflect just a reflector which is all around, right? So, like this, for example. Looks like it's not reflecting exactly what I need for some reason. In any case, that's not what I'm showing here. Just look at this chain. It looks perfectly on a white background. Let's see highlights. If it's not highlighted enough, yeah, it's not white. I just turned on highlights and I don't see that it's overexposed, so I'm going to raise power of background light till it will be overexposed, meaning we'll be getting white background without any post-production. Like this, right? So you got the idea. Completely fine and completely controlled light for your subject, and separated light for background. You can play and it's Marco. It should work for you, I guess. And let's say if we add some other pieces like gold, I think it will work, right? Why not? It doesn't matter how many things we have. Or let's say we shooting something like this with really small chain. Let's see. Stuff like this. By the way, the Swarovski crystal looks pretty good on this, right? Nice setup. For this chain, you see, it's a really tiny chain and there is no problem with it. And if you decide that it's really little bit too much light, you can always lower the power settings of the light which hits our subject and shoot, and it will be just darker with still completely bright background. So really guys, yeah, you see, it's completely nice. I don't really understand what the possible problems with that setup with clear plexiglass. It really works for everything on a white background. So don't worry about going outside of the box, you know, that kind of thing, even though maybe not any jeweler doing this. Come on, use it, shoot it, and it will work, really. Okay, So that was questions and answers session from 4tg.com, number 6. If you have any question for me post, I hopefully can answer it by doing something like this presentation I just did. Well, let's learn together. Okay? So stay tuned and see you next week. Bye.